not only on Saturday did we get Hard to Kill, we also got New Japan's Battle in the Valley in San Jose, and then a surprise appearance by Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy takes the AEW contract, rips it up, and he also had put on the armband, and it said Scapegoat. So that was all over the internet over the weekend. So, Bully, I'll start with you. Your thoughts of the appearance of Jungle Boy.
It's not so much about the appearance for me. It's about the potential Jungle Boy has now to become the biggest heel in AEW and catch lightning in a bottle and have a world of heat. How they decide to go about it. The jury is still out with me as to why they had him show up in New Japan and do this. I'm sure there's a plan. I'm going to let this play out. I'm not making a judgment call based on just one thing that I saw. I just know that with the very real stuff that went on outside of the ring with Jack and CM Punk and the real glass and the problems and the fight at all in at Wembley, yada, yada. This guy is in position. This kid is in position to have an immense amount of heat on him. Good heat, pro wrestling heat. How they go about it will be interesting. Yeah, can they do it? Can he be hated? He ripped up the contract, right? Ripping up a contract, I mean, it's very symbolic about how he feels about AEW right now. But you can't just rip up a contract and all of a sudden it's null and void. Okay, he still has a contract with AEW.
It's an act of defiance. It's not just a symbolic. I want to end. He wasn't saying that I want to end my deal. We haven't heard him speak yet. But when you say defiance, it means like, I'm going to deface this. I don't like it. I'm not treated right. Like he insinuated, like, I mean, he did everything but not wiping his ass with it and throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. So like when you have a situation like that and you're telling the AEW fan base, this is what I think about your company that you like so much. This is what I'm talking to the owner of the company and everybody in the brass. When he comes out, there's going to be a chorus of boos. It's a good start to his heat. I would go a couple of weeks, Dave. They say, well, tonight, you're in action. Bullshit. Tonight, I got a date with a strip club down the street before I fly back home. Goodbye. I would diss them. Keep dissing them.
Mark, I love the act of defiance way that you just put that, because maybe Jungle Boy and the minute you said it, I could see it. Like, Jungle Boy is not saying I'm not working for AEW anymore, ripping it up. It's symbolic of an act of I don't want to be a part of your company anymore. Yeah, right. I love the way you put that.
The way that it is.
Loved it.
It's interesting, guys, because all right, he ripped up the contract. That's one thing, but he also had he put the armband on that said Scapegoat. If he is the biggest heel, if you make him a heel, which obviously it looks like he would be a heel because he's ripping up an AEW contract, so he's giving the middle finger to Tony Khan and AEW. But who's the baby face in this situation? Because it's reminding everybody about Punk. Like, it's interesting to me because he's, by putting that armband that says Scapegoat, everybody automatically goes back to the incident between him and CM Punk at All In.
At first, Dave.
But any good heel thinks he's in the right. Good heels always think that they are doing right. Why would you boo me? Why would I be the scapegoat? I'm doing the right thing. Go ahead, Mark.
Him saying, basically putting a scapegoat on tells me that He's trying to let them know, I'm not going to let you put the blame on me. You made me this. You did it. He's putting the blame on the company. He's telling them, you mismanaged something. No boss likes to hear that they mismanaged something, because that's what they do, for a lack of a better term, when you're the boss. You manage every situation, or you put somebody in place to get that job done for you, because that's why he pays you. Well, he's saying it didn't get done. So there's holes in the foundation. And maybe you should fill the holes in your company rather than put all the blame on me. I've been at home all this time. He can cut 1,000 promos. But the number one thing, Dave, is I would try to force him to work. You're getting paid? Well, you're not going to get paid until you wrestle again. And build it up.
I would love to see Tony involved in this. I would love to see Tony get involved.
He has to be, I think, Bully. Because the reason why I bring that up, because who is going to get involved? CM Punk is gone. CM Punk was fired. CM Punk is now in the WWE. So who else connected with that incident could actually take this story forward? The only person I can think of off the top of my head would be Tony Kahn. I feel like he has to be involved in this. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but there could be a way that Jungle Boy could be the baby face in this whole story, because he is kind of the scapegoat. You fired CM Punk. CM Punk is now with the WWE and is one of their top stars. And you suspend me? I'm off of TV this entire time. You fired the other guy, and he just went to the WWE and said, "I'm home. I'm back home." And you just completely forgot about me. You threw me, you cast me aside, and you forgot about me. And you, not only that, you put the blame on me. You put the blame like it was my fault. And look at the shit that's been going on since I've been gone. I mean, listen, I think he would be a heel, but there could be a way you play out this story where Jungle Boy could be the babyface in this whole scenario.
Dave, whenever you're thinking about a character, I always love strong arguments for why that character should be a heel or a babyface. Because whenever you have a certain character, unless they're extremely unique, I'll use Tommy as an example. Tommy is a babyface till the day he died, but you could make an argument about why he could or should turn heel. But Jack Perry right now, from his look and from the perception of what he's been involved in, screams heel. And the more he screams, "No, it's not my fault. You got it all wrong," the more people are going to be like, "Shut the F up. You're bitching and whining. You've caused problems." You know, especially when the first act of defiance, Mark is right, ripping up that contract. Could you see Tony confronting Jack Perry? And I hope this is not in the back. I hope this is not a pre-tape. Could you imagine Jack Perry, the very first night he's back at AEW and Tony's out there and he goes, "But why? Why would you rip up that contract? I've taken nothing but great care of you. Your dad passed away. I gave you a career. I gave blah, 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 blah. Why would you? Oh, fuck you, Tony." I mean, you're off to the races with this guy. Because if there's one thing that I've noticed about an AEW fan base, they're very loyal to Tony. They want it. Tony's very, very good to his fans. Tony might make some mistakes here and there, yada, yada. We all make mistakes. But Tony's very good to his fan base. He really, really tries to make his fan base happy. He really tries to make his fellow fan happy, because at the end of the day, Tony's a fan who had a lot of money and started a wrestling company. So I think they will be behind him. I think Tony's the perfect person. And then obviously you have to have somebody come to Tony's rescue. Could you imagine if Jungle Boy punched Tony Khan in the face? That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
There's potential. Are you about to disagree with me? Because go ahead.
No, I wasn't about to disagree at all. I was trying to add to the equation.
Please go.
This is the opportunity to create a new babyface.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, if you have Jack being this guy who looks like Captain America after they got banished from S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers, and they're Rogue with the beard and the complete grizzled look. Now you have somebody after he punches Tony. I would have him show up, walk through, and they go, "Hey, he's back yet?" and follow me. I would just have the camera follow him, handheld, all the way into Tony's door, kick the door in, bang, and go into just what you said. It ends in that altercation that we saw in Canada, where you get punched in the face. And who's the person that's going to come and go, "Hey, man, you've overstepped your bounds. What are you doing?"
Somebody stands up for Tony.
Who stands up for Tony?
Correct.
Who's the guy that has the brass tacks that can say, "You know what? You've overstepped your bounds now, bro."
And I think, go ahead, Mark.
I want to know who that person is, but more than that, it should not be about money. It should not be about a title. It should be about the defense of the fan of AEW. And who could be that guy?
And it has to be an unlikely hero. Remember how you just said, here's our chance to make a babyface? It's very easy for Bryan Danielson or Jon Moxley or any of these guys to stand up. No, an unlikely hero.
I'm going to bring...
But I got another point to make. Hold on one second. Ahead. You know, maybe, a babyface on their way up or somebody like that who the people can finally get behind. And if you're going to punch Tony Khan in the face, you have to tell the people when, where, and what time you're going to do it. I told the wrestling world on this day, on this venue, at this time, I will put Dixie Carter through a table because I wanted everybody tuned in at that moment. How did I come up with that idea? Doc Brown and Marty McFly. They knew when the lightning would strike, thus they could go back to the future. So if they set this up in a way where they have an initial in-ring, and Jungle Boy says, "I'm giving you a week, Tony, to give you my answer. And if you don't give me the answer I want to hear, next Wednesday night on Dynamite at 8 o'clock, right as the show opens, I will punch you in the face." Next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, Jungle Boy says, "Tony, blah, blah, blah." And Tony says, "No," wham, right in the mouth.
Sell out.
Boom.
Sell out.
People are
not just at the curtain, but on TV. And that's what you want to do.
You really could, and I'm going to use history as a barometer here, and it's over 40 years ago now, when Don Morocco put hands on Gordon Soley, and Roddy Piper, who was a heel, defended Gordon Soley and got into a fight with Don Morocco because, you know, anybody that grew up watching Georgia Championship Wrestling, Gordon Soley was untouchable. He was the epitome of class, and that was the only time that I can remember that anybody even remotely came close to Gordon Soley. And he grabbed Gordon Soley, and then Roddy Piper stopped it. And it was so.
Dave, I got to ask this question: was Piper a main event babyface at the time? I don't think so.
No, he was a main event heel, but that turned him babyface. He turned babyface.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, you could get a heel. It could be a heel, but if they came and defended Tony Khan and were like, "Wait a second, that's our boss. That's my boss." Like you could have the biggest heel, whoever that is, and you could turn them babyface in 1 second because, like you said, Bully, that AEW crowd will now be on the side of whoever that heel is because, oh my, that's our guy. That's Tony Khan. That's our guy. And Jungle Boy just put hands on Tony Khan. Whoever that is, it doesn't matter. Everything that they've ever done will be erased because now everybody will behind whoever that person is. So you're right. It could be somebody young. It could be somebody you want to take today. I actually feel like it would work if it was a big heel. If it was a heel, I think that might work more. I don't. It's going to be.
I mean, I'd have to look at the roster, give it some thought. It's not popping into my head. Like Daniel Garcia. How do you feel about that name?
Yeah, I feel great about it.
I like it, but don't love it.
Okay.
What about like somebody who's kind of been heelish? What about like a Jon Moxley? That doesn't do anything for you?
I don't think Moxley doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Moxley don't need it. You got to give this to somebody who can use it for the future. Okay, so let's take your example right there, Dave. When heel Roddy Piper came to make the save for Gordon Soley against Morocco, wasn't Piper's career like off to the races after that?
Yes.
Okay. So you want this scenario that we're coming up with. In no way, shape, or form are we saying this is what's going to happen, but I'll be damned if it don't sound real good. You want this to be able to propel somebody, a baby face or a heel that turns into the future.
And you have to be very careful with this. You have to really think about this because whoever you give this to, you got to have faith that they're going to take it. And honestly, whoever does this, it's safe to say is going to be your top guy, right? I mean, you would have to put
the guy that should be the top guy.
Now,
that's Swerve Strickland.
Paul, Swerve's a great one. Swerve's a great one because Swerve right now is a heel, but he's not a heel. The fans are behind him. If he was Swerve's house. I mean, you hear that everywhere, but this solidifies Swerve as a babyface and your top guy. And then you could have Swerve go after Samoa Joe for the AEW championship. I like Swerve. I think Swerve's a good one.
So,
and who
Mark,
can pull the carpet out from under him?
Mark,
Jack?
you just said Swerve, and my heart said no, but my head said yes. Like I heard it at first. My first emotion is no. And then I stopped myself and I said, "Wait a minute." And now wrestler mentality kicked into mode, and I'm like, "Yeah, that could be good." But does Swerve need it?
Yeah, but I think
the fans want to see Swerve as a guy that's vying for the title or a guy with the title.
But see, this is
fans
two different.
Want it.
That would be two different stories, Mark. And what do you think would be more important for Swerve, to stay on his trajectory towards Joe, or to branch off into a blood feud with Jack Perry?
A blood feud with Jack. And down the road, now you've established yourself as because Swerve haven't took many L's. Swerve has been winning. And when you get a guy that's kind of a tweener and they're rising up that board every week, every year, they're getting better, which he has. Now you can have him go, "What are you doing?" And do that babyface thing that we just talked about. In the process, the dirty player, which Jack should be, he should be the one that gives Swerve a couple of L's and build him up to the point to where, okay, now Swerve can go and he can beat Jack, and now he can be catapulted into the race for dealing with Joe down the road. It shouldn't be nothing immediate. Like, we're talking about character building, and we try to do it too fast. We try to do it in a week or 2 weeks. We got to do it over a couple of months. Like, let's let some stories breathe.
Yeah, but Mark, to that point though, when that save happens that Bully's talking about, it is going to be off to the races. Like, you got to make.
Then you shouldn't do it with Swerve. Then,
it's going to be as soon as that moment happens. This is your top guy. That's why I think it could be Swerve, because Swerve is reaching that star potential, but I don't know if he's quite there yet. this would bring him to that where he's a star. And honestly, AEW needs stars. I think that would take Swerve to that next level. But make no mistake about it. When that moment happens, you have to capture that moment. It's lightning in a bottle to me. It's like you're off to the races.
You don't want to prostitute Jack either. You want to make sure that not only does he become a dominant heel, but he don't get his ass kicked. Because the heel is going to get beat, but that initial introduction to, you know what, I'm going to be a bad, bad man, he got to succeed at being a bad, bad man.
Guys,
this is an interesting. Oh, go ahead, Bully.
What about this? What if everything plays out the way we're suggesting? And since Jack was in the 4-pillar storyline, the guy that eventually makes the big save is MJF.
Wow.
MJF has been
just roll that grenade in here and be all lackadaisical.
MJF has been singing the praises of AEW and defending the company on social media over the past couple of weeks, a couple of months, quite hard about how much he loves the place and this and that. So
it's not bad.
I can't argue now. I can't argue with that.
He's injured. He's recuperating. This is where you can have MJF come back. MJF comes back, especially, Bully, if it's that situation you brought up where Jack Perry's like, you know what, 9:00 on Wednesday night on Dynamite, I am coming for you, Tony. You have some explaining to do, and you have now earned a fist in your face from me. So at 9:00 next Wednesday night, I am going to meet you in the ring, and then that's where you could have MJF come back.
And when he busts in the door and Tony is talking to somebody, that somebody is talking to is MJF. And it looks like MJF will be like, well, shit, let me get my popcorn. And then Jack actually hits him. He go, oh, man, what's wrong with you? Are you kidding me?
You see, if you can play this the right way and you can sell out an arena with the potential of Tony Kahn having hands laid on him for the first time. So now you're announcing what you're going to do to the owner. Basically, we're telling the world, we're going to bump the owner for the first time, at this place, yada, yada. Here's your lightning strike. But then you get the surprise of the Max return. Now you've gotten a guarantee and you've gotten a surprise. That's a huge potential win for the company. I like the way we just kind of booked this. I'm not, like I said,
figured it out.
We're not saying that this is what's going to happen, but if this is what happened, I'd watch. I'd be intrigued. This is a fun story.
And honestly, Bully, the only way that I think that this story could work is if Tony Khan is involved. Like I just because Punk's gone. Punk's been fired. And also Samoa Joe is involved and everything else. But, he's your champion now. It's really about Punk, Tony Khan, and Jungle Boy. Those are the only 3 players in this scenario. And with Punk gone, you have to have Tony Khan be involved in this. It has to be. And this is a great way to rally around the troops.
And this is a great way happened with the Devil story. These guys really don't have – they went after Max. Now Max is not around. It's kind of like you paid off a story, but now you can't go any farther with it because the guy's not there. So where do you go with this story with Jack? As of right now, who's public enemy number 1 to Jack Perry?
It's Tony Khan.
It can't be Punk. Punk's not there. Who else could it possibly be?
No one. He's the one that made the decision to suspend him.
You ripped up an AEW contract. There's only 2 names on that contract: Jack Perry's and Tony Khan's.
That's it.